I feel like that's way too much sugar. I trust you, Ina. Guys, I forgot to set my timer. Oh no. Lads and ladies, today we're making lemon bars. Not only are they just lemon bars, they're Ina Garten's lemon bars. So Ina Garten is one of my favorite chefs, so we're making her recipe today. Okay, so my oven is preheating to 350 degrees. I have a 9x13 baking pan lined with parchment. You can just grease your pan, you can butter and flour it, however you make your pan non-stick, make it non-stick. And then I have a large mixing bowl in which we are going to place a ½ pound of butter, which is equal to 2 sticks. Butter at room temperature. So make sure it's soft, not melted, just soft. And then we are going to add to our butter a ½ cup of white sugar. Why didn't I just stick my measuring spoon in there? My measuring cup in there? I thought it was too full. Thought I'd make a mess, but I made a mess anyway. Now we are going to cream this all together. So if you have sugar on your table, wipe it off. Sugar will make your counters or your floor sticky. So we're going to cream together our butter and our sugar. If you have a hand mixer, go ahead and use that. If you have a stand mixer, like a KitchenAid, go ahead and use that. If you have a stand mixer, Ina's recipe says to use the paddle mixer, the paddle attachment. Once your butter and sugar are creamed together to the point where you find acceptable, we're going to add our flour and our salt. So we're supposed to add together our flour and our salt and mix those together before we put them in our bowl, but that's not what I'm gonna do because I don't want to get out another bowl. Our recipe calls for an 1/8 teaspoon of kosher salt. Oops. If you don't have kosher salt, that's okay. Use regular salt. And then we need 2 cups of flour. White flour, all-purpose flour, and we are spooning it into our measuring cup because flour will pack down and we don't want to pack it down. So there's 1. If you've ever watched Ina bake with flour, she just goes right into her massive flour container and scoops the flour up. She does kind of fluff it up sometimes, but I'm like, what? That's not how you're supposed to do it, but I mean, it's Ina, who's gonna tell her different. All right, now let's stir this all together. And this is our shortbread cookie base. This is gonna be the bottom of our lemon bars. So you might think that you have too much flour, but just keep stirring. It'll all work itself in together. This is why I think Ina said to use the paddle attachment if you are using a stand mixer. Or heck, I don't have a stand mixer. Do you normally use the paddle attachment when you're making a cookie dough? Leave me a comment. I don't know these things. Teach me your ways. Okay, so once the flour is all in there, there's no loose flour, stir it all together until you're just at that point. We don't want to overwork our shortbread dough. We're going to turn our dough onto a lightly floured surface. And then we're just going to use our hands to form it together into a ball, a dough ball, which, as you can see, it did it pretty easily. Excellent. I'm just gonna flip it over once to make sure that the bottom of my ball dough is, the bottom of my dough ball is all together. Okay, so once your dough is in its cute little ball, let's get our 9x13 pan over here. And we're going to press this into the bottom of our pan. Let me clean this up real quick so you can see it up close and personal. So it's okay if your hands have a little bit of flour on them. It might actually be helpful because we're going to be spreading our dough into the bottom of the pan, and our hands are warm, and the butter in the dough may start to get a little melty, and that will make it more difficult to spread the dough because the dough will want to stick to your hands. And then once you get it all kind of evenly spread out to your edges, Ina says to build up the edges to about a 1/2 inch. And I think that's just because the lemon custardy part that's going to be on top of this shortbread will use that edge to keep itself inside the bars. It's like we're making a shallow little pool for it to chill in. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, I'm just trying to make it flat-ish. Okay, so we're gonna pop this into our oven for 15 to 20 minutes until it's very lightly browned. No rest for the weary. While our shortbread crust is cooking, we have work to do. So the custard that we're going to be making requires 6 eggs. Now, Ina uses extra large eggs. I don't know, most people just use large, so should I use 7? I'm gonna use 7. All right, so Ina says 6 extra large eggs. I'm gonna use 7 large eggs, preferably at room temperature. So I'm just going to crack them all into a bowl. Tell me, how do you crack your eggs? Do you crack them on the edge of a pan? Do you use the back of a knife? Do you do like me and whack them against a flat surface? Or is there an option that I have not mentioned? Let me know. I used to crack them against the side of a pan, but when I crack them on a flat surface, it gives me a nice spot to... Well, that was the worst one. Gives me a nice round spot to put the tips of both of my thumbs. I'm gonna get a whisk for this. All right, so for now I'm just gonna break the yolks and give them a short little mix. Okay, now we need 3 cups of granulated sugar. 3 cups of white sugar. Oh my. I have a 1/2 cup here, so we'll need 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's so much sugar. I feel like that's way too much sugar. I trust you, Ina. Okay, I'm just gonna give these a little mix. I'm just gonna give it a little mix every time I add something in. So you will need a large mixing bowl. This was you can probably tell this is the bowl that I made the shortbread crust in. I just gave it a quick wash. All right, next up, we need 2 tablespoons of lemon zest. So these are the lemons I'm going to be using for the lemon juice that we need. I always wash mine when I'm using the lemon zest. And remember, we just want down to the white part and then move on to a non-zested part. Once you get down to the white part, that gets bitter. And we don't want that. Smells like fresh lemonade. Okay, I think that's about 1 tablespoon. We might get both tablespoons just off of this one big lemon. And always zest your lemon. If you're going to be using both the zest and the juice in a recipe, always zest it before you juice the lemon, because once your lemon is limp, it's gonna be real hard to zest it. Oh yeah, I think that's 2 tablespoons. Oh my goodness, I wish you guys could smell this. Ooh, lemon heads or lemon drops. That taste is what this smells like. I'm sure you all know what fresh lemon smells like, but in case you needed a reminder, and if that's more than 2 tablespoons, that's okay. The lemon zest is where the party's at. I forgot. Give it a quick mix. Doesn't have to be perfect. We have a couple more things to add. All right, we need 1 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Now, fresh is always best, but sometimes you're on a budget and lemons can be, they're not super expensive, but they can be more than you want to spend sometimes. I get that. So you're definitely going to need more than 1 lemon to get our 1 cup. So what I would suggest is splurge and get at least 1, these are pretty big lemons, but splurge and get at least 1 lemon to get your 2 tablespoons of zest. And then you can just buy the bottle of lemon juice. I really don't think it's gonna taste quite as fresh, but hey, if you're on a budget, stick to your budget. I respect that. If you have a juicer, that would be real handy to make this go quicker. But tonight, we're getting a workout. Oh, this is easy. It's easier when the zest is still on the lemon. You get a little more of a grip on it. Don't worry, I will fish out all of my seeds when I'm done. Guys, I forgot to set my timer. Oh no. We'll check it in 3 minutes. Rolling your lemon just kind of gets the juices flowing. If your lemons are really firm, you can always microwave them for like 10 seconds, and just that little bit of warmth helps get the juices flowing. You could do both. If you have a firm lemon, pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then give it a roll. And my 1 cup. Okay, so that took 1, 2, 3.5 large lemons. Oh, okay. Let's fish out. Oh my goodness. If you have like a little sieve, you could just pour this out over, you could just pour this into your bowl through the sieve, but I do not have one. Before I add my lemon juice, it's time to check our shortbread. What do you think? I think I want to give it 1 more minute. I'll set the timer this time. All right, 1 cup of fresh lemon juice. Take a moment to appreciate your hard work. Oh, I have 2 more seeds in there. I'm glad I checked the bottom. It's gonna take that whole minute to find this. All right, is it light brown? I'm gonna give it 1 more minute and then I'll call it. Finally, our hard work. Almost thought I saw another seed. All right, now the last ingredient for the custard is 1 cup of flour. So again, spooning it into our measuring cup. Okay, so this is where I'm leaving it. Okay, so we need to let this cool for 15 minutes. So put your pan either on a wire rack, or I'm going to put it on top of my stove because I have grates so that there will be airflow underneath. So I set my timer for that 15 minutes at least. And then we're going to work in our flour. Now, you could have waited for your shortbread to finish before starting the custard, but I didn't know how long it was going to take me to juice all of my lemons. So this step will be nice if you did not let your eggs come to room temperature. I see you out there. Don't worry, I do it too. This will let your custardy mixture come closer to room temperature. All right, so we're just gonna let this hang out until our shortbread has cooled for those 15 minutes. All right, so it has been 15 minutes. Now, the recipe that I'm going to link down below in the description for you guys just says to let this cool. Then I watched the short video of Ina making this, and she says let it sit for 15 minutes. So that's why I did 15 minutes. So I'm gonna give this one little stir, make sure there's nothing hanging out at the bottom, and then I'm just going to pour it all over the top. Oh, I'm glad my parchment is tall enough. And then clean out your bowl, get all that goodness out. And then we are going to gently, carefully move this, you might need hot pads, into our oven. And this is going to bake for 30 to 35 minutes or until the top is set. And to me, that just means that it's not gonna flow back and forth like it is right now. All right, we're gonna start with 30 minutes. And then we'll check it. All right, after 30 minutes, this is what we're looking at, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's still jiggly in the middle, so I'm gonna put it back in for 5 minutes. I don't see a jiggle. Okay, I think that's what we're looking for. No jiggle in the middle. All right, so we need to let these cool to room temperature, and we're gonna have to taste Zesties in the morning. It's bedtime. Again, if you have a cooling rack, set your whole pan on the cooling rack. If you have grates on top of your stove, you can just set it on top of your stove. If nothing else, you can just set it on a hot pad on your counter. But we want these to be room temperature before we cut them and before we dust them with powdered sugar. If you dust them with powdered sugar now, I'm pretty sure your powdered sugar is going to melt. So let's wait for these to cool off. All right, so our lemon bars have cooled, and I have not put powdered sugar on them yet. This is just the top of the lemon layer. So I'm going to cut these first before we dust them with powdered sugar. Oh yes, they're so much easier. You get such a cleaner cut when they've cooled completely. And I'm gonna give my knife just a quick wipe in between cuts. I think it just helps you get a cleaner line when you're cutting. And then I'm going to try for a diagonal cut. Wish me luck. Part of me is starting to get a little worried that the center wasn't completely set, but the show must go on. This did not go exactly as planned, but we've got some bigger squares and some little squares. So in case someone just wants a little piece, they can have just a little piece. Okay. Well, we have an interesting cut here, but it's okay. I do not have a little sieve for dusting powdered sugar onto things. So So I'm experimenting. I'm gonna try something with you guys. So first I'm gonna take some powdered sugar. If you were to just sprinkle this over your bars, you'd be getting some big clumps of powdered sugar. And that's not the aesthetic we're going for. And then if you have a whisk or a fork, I'm just going to give it a little stir just to encourage breaking up some of those bigger clumps of powdered sugar. And then if you have a microplane, but I have my cheese grater here, and I have the side that has little holes on it. And so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna try doing, is little holes on this side, pouring my powdered sugar inside there, and then tapping it out. Make sure your powdered sugar stays on that side. Just kind of shake it, tap it. Huh, this isn't too bad. Not too shabby, y'all. Ugh, wow. I know I'm making a mess, that's okay. I'm actually quite pleased. It works. Might not be as perfect as a sieve, but you know, in a pinch. All right, let's give them a try. Okay, so here it is. We can see that there's a little cookie crust and then a whole lot of like lemon curd on there. Let's give it a try. That custard, that curd on top is nice and smooth and creamy, and then you get a little bit of the crunch from the cookie bottom, the shortbread bottom. Wow, very lemony, shocking. Very rich, but very refreshing. Good stuff. All right, you're just gonna have to go try these out for yourself now. I will leave the ingredients and instructions written down below, along with the link to the original recipe. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who share it with someone who loves lemon desserts. And then once you've done that, go ahead and check out one of my other videos over here, and I'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching.